Chapter 9 Microsoft Excel 2010. Hello students, welcome to the class. In this chapter, we will learn basic spreadsheet skills of Microsoft Excel 2010 application. This chapter will cover Introduction to Excel, Basic User Interface, Concept of Sheet and Workbook, Basics of Excel, which includes creating a new workbook in MS Excel, creating a new worksheet, save and save as, opening using GUI and shortcut, working with columns, rows and cells using Home tab, which includes clipboard group, font group, alignment, number group, styles group, cells group, and editing group, basic formulas and functions, freezing and splitting panes, printing a worksheet workbook, which includes printing of a worksheet and workbook, scaling options for printing, and print titles in Excel. Introduction to Excel. Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet application developed by Microsoft for Microsoft Windows, Mac OS X and iOS. It is used for storing, organizing and analyzing data. It features calculation, graphing tools, pivot tables and a macro programming language called Visual Basic for applications. Excel forms part of Microsoft Office. Basic User Interface. Let's understand the basic user interface of Microsoft Excel 2010 application first. Microsoft Excel 2010 interface is similar to Microsoft Word 2010, which consists of a customizable tabs and command groups. In Excel 2010, you can create custom tabs and groups and rename or change the order of the built-in tabs and groups. The only difference is that in Excel, there are some additional tabs and command groups useful for calculations in a spreadsheet. Simulation showing basic user interface of Excel 2010. At the top, you can see the ribbon containing various tabs and command groups similar to Microsoft Word 2010. The ribbon contains all of the commands you will need in order to perform any task in Excel 2010. There are multiple tabs with multiple command groups, which can be customized as per needs. Some groups have an arrow in the bottom right corner called as Dialog Box Launcher, which gives some more options beyond the commands available under groups. Just above the ribbon is the Quick Access toolbar, which lets you access common commands irrespective of the tab you are on. By default, it shows the save, undo and repeat commands. You can also add other commands to make it more convenient for you. The name box tells you the location or the name of a selected cell. The name box tells you the location or the name of a selected cell. When you are on a cell, let's say row number 5 of column C, name box will display C5. Next to name box is the formula bar, where you can enter or edit data, a formula or a function which will appear in a specific cell. When a cell is selected and you enter any data in formula bar, it will be displayed in the cell. A column is a group of cells that runs from the top of the page to the bottom. In Excel 2010, columns are identified by letters. When you click on the column header, all the cells under the column are highlighted. Similarly, a row is a group of cells that runs from the left of the page to the right and is identified by numbers. When you click on the row number, all the cells of that row are highlighted. At the top of the Excel application, you can see the title bar with workbook name. At the bottom, you have status bar which displays ready. Status bar can be customized by right-clicking on it and selecting desired options. On the right end of the status bar, you can see that there are 3 workbook or worksheet view options in Excel 2010, that is normal view, page layout view and page break preview. By default, normal view is activated and highlighted. Using page layout view, you can divide your worksheet into pages, and using page break view, you can preview the complete worksheet and see where page breaks have been added. Page breaks can also be modified in this view. Using zoom slider, you can zoom in or zoom out in your spreadsheets. Horizontal and vertical scroll bars are available to scroll through the cells when data is entered in cells beyond the display screen. Customizing Excel ribbon. To customize the ribbon, right-click on it and click Customize the ribbon. Ribbon can also be customized by adding commands to new custom tabs or groups created. Maximizing or minimizing Excel ribbon. To minimize the ribbon, click arrow on top right corner. To maximize the ribbon, click on the same arrow again. Backstage view. After you click the File tab, you can see the Microsoft Office Backstage view. The Office Backstage view gives options for saving, opening, printing, and sharing the document as demonstrated to you in Microsoft Word chapter. Various options available in Backstage view are Save, Save As, Open, Close, Info, Recent, New, Print, Save and Send, Help, Options and Exit. Concept of sheet and workbook. Constituents of workbook. An Excel document is called workbook, which consists of multiple worksheets and charts. When you open a new workbook, it contains 3 worksheets by default. You can also add more than 3 worksheets if required. To add more worksheet, you can simply click on Insert Worksheet icon next to Sheet 3 in the application, or a shortcut combination of Shift and F11 key can also be used, which adds 1 extra worksheet. In total, there are 1,48,575 rows and 16,384 columns in a worksheet. Cell. Cell. Now let's understand what a cell exactly is. A cell is the smallest unit of MS Excel where we store data, and it is basically the intersection point of row and column. For example, the top left most cell has the address A1, in which A stands for the column and 1 is the row number. In MS Excel 2010, a cell can contain any of the following items: a number and any associated punctuation such as decimal points, commas, and currency symbols. Textual content, including any combination of letters, numbers, and symbols that are not number related. A formula, which is a math equation. A function, which is a named equation that shortcuts an otherwise complex operation. Basics of Excel. Creating a new workbook in MS Excel. Creating a new workbook in MS Excel. Click on the Start button. Click on All apps. Click Microsoft Office. And then click Microsoft Office Excel 2010. Then click on Microsoft Office button. Click on New and then click on Blank Workbook By default, Excel opens a blank workbook, creating a new worksheet. Creating a new worksheet. It is very simple to create a new worksheet in MS Excel. As explained earlier, by default, each new Excel workbook contains 3 worksheets. 3 tabs displaying Sheet 1, Sheet 2 and Sheet 3 will be displayed at the bottom of the workbook to indicate the separate sheets. To add a new worksheet, simply click on the tab after the tab that says Sheet 3. You can also rename the worksheets by right-clicking and selecting Rename. Similarly, worksheets can be deleted, copied and moved to different position of same workbook or to a new workbook. 2 or more worksheets can also be grouped if you want changes in one worksheet to be reflected in multiple worksheets. In order to group worksheets, select the first worksheet, press and hold Ctrl, select other worksheets to be grouped and release Ctrl. Save and Save As. By default, Excel will create new workbook in Excel 2010 XLSX format. After creating the workbook, it may be saved on the computer for accessing it later. To save a newly created workbook, go to File tab and select Save As. It will open a dialog box. Save the workbook at desired location with desired name. For a newly created workbook, Save and Save As are the same as workbook is not already saved on your local drive. To save work done on an existing workbook, click Save from Quick Access toolbar or Ctrl S. By default, Excel 2010 auto-saves every 10 minutes. If you are editing a workbook for less than 10 minutes, Excel may not create an auto-saved version. Compatibility mode. Sometimes you may need to work with spreadsheets that were created in earlier versions of Microsoft Excel, such as Excel 2007 or Excel 2003. When you open these types of documents, they will appear in compatibility mode. Compatibility mode will automatically disable certain features, so few commands may not be enabled in such documents. You can convert the workbook to the current version type to enable all the features of Excel 2010. You can share your documents with anyone using Excel 2010 or 2007 because they use the same file format with an extension XLSX. However, earlier versions of Excel use a different file format, that is extension XLS. So, if you want to share your spreadsheet with someone using an earlier version of Excel, you'll need to save it as Word 97 2003 document. Let's see how to do it. Compatibility mode. Sometimes you may need to work with spreadsheets that were created in earlier versions of Microsoft Excel, such as Excel 2007 or Excel 2003. When you open these types of documents, they will appear in compatibility mode. Compatibility mode will automatically disable certain features, so few commands may not be enabled in such documents. You can convert the workbook to the current version type to enable all the features of Excel 2010. You can share your documents with anyone using Excel 2010 or 2007 because they use the same file format with an extension XLSX. However, earlier versions of Excel use a different file format, that is extension XLS. So, if you want to share your spreadsheet with someone using an earlier version of Excel, you'll need to save it as Word 97 2003 document. Let's see how to do it. To save in compatibility mode, select File, select Save As option. Type file name. Choose Save As Type option to save the document in compatible format. Choose Excel 97-2003 document option available in drop-down. Click on Save button. At the top of the document, title bar will display Compatibility Mode in brackets. Auto Recover Manage Versions feature in Excel 2010. Auto Recover Manage Versions feature in Excel 2010. Excel saves the work you do in your worksheets automatically to a temporary folder. If you forget to save your changes or if the application crashes, you can recover the auto-saved file. To do this, you need to open the workbook that was previously closed without saving. In Backstage view, click Info. If there are auto-saved versions of your file, they will appear under Versions. Click on the file to open it. By default, Excel autosaves every 10 minutes. If you are editing a workbook for less than 10 minutes, Excel may not create an auto-saved version. To auto-recover version, click on File tab. Select Info. Locate and select Manage Versions and then click on Recover Unsaved Document option. Choose the file name to recover the required file. If there is no auto-saved version of the current document, it will not displaying anything here. Saving as PDF. You can also save an Excel file as other formats like PDF. To save as PDF, click on the File tab. Select Save As. In the Save As Type drop-down menu, select PDF. Select the location where you want to save the document. Enter desired name for the document. You can choose to optimize the PDF as per your needs by selecting one of the optimization options displayed, that is, Standard, Publishing and Minimum Size. Second option will reduce the size of the PDF, but quality of the output may be compromised and it may not be very high quality output for printouts. Click on the Save button. Your workbook will be saved as PDF file. PDF file will open automatically after publishing if you have not deselected the option before saving. Opening MS Excel 2010 using GUI and shortcut. To open an existing file, click on the Start button. Click on All Apps. Click Microsoft Office and then click Microsoft Office Excel 2010 and select Open. In the Open dialog box, navigate to the folder which contains the desired file and then double-click the file. Working with columns, rows, and cells using tabs. A cell can be formatted using various command groups available under Home tab. By default, all columns and rows of a workbook or worksheet have same height and width. This may be changed as per user requirements using the format options available under Cells command group in Home tab. New rows, columns or worksheets may be inserted using Insert menu available under Home tab. Right-clicking a particular row, column or worksheet will also show the options to insert new ones. Similarly, rows, columns or cells may be deleted if required. Formatting of cell content. Formatting of cell content can be done using options available under Home tab. Clipboard group, font group, alignment group, number group, style, cells and editing. Clipboard group commands. Clipboard group commands. Clipboard contains paste, cut, copy, format, painter commands. You can use the cut, copy and paste commands in Microsoft Excel 2010 to move or copy entire cells or their contents. You can also copy specific contents or attributes from the cells. For example, you can copy the resulting value of a formula without copying the formula itself, or you can copy only the formula. Let's understand it in detail. First of all, we need to understand the cell selection methods. Selection can be done using arrow keys as well as using the mouse. To select a single cell, click the cell or press the arrow keys to move to the cell. A range of cells. Click the first cell in the range and then drag to the last cell, or hold down Shift while you press the arrow keys to extend the selection. You can also select the first cell in the range and then press F8 to extend the selection by using the arrow keys. To stop extending the selection, press F8 again. A large range of cells. Click the first cell in the range and then hold down Shift while you click the last cell in the range. You can scroll to make the last cell visible. All cells on a worksheet. Click the Select All button. To select the entire worksheet, you can also press Ctrl A. If the worksheet contains data, Ctrl A selects the current region. Pressing Ctrl A a second time selects the entire worksheet. Non-adjacent cells or cell ranges. Select the first cell or range of cells and then hold cell or range of cells and then press Shift F8 to add another non-adjacent cell or range to the selection. To stop adding cells or ranges to the selection, press Shift and F8 again. An entire row or column. Click the row or column heading. You can also select cells in a row or column by selecting the first cell and then pressing Ctrl, Shift and arrow key, right arrow or left arrow for rows, up arrow or down arrow for columns. Adjacent rows or columns. Drag across the row or column headings or select the first row or column. Then hold down Shift while you select the last row or column. Non-adjacent rows or columns. Click the column or row heading of the first row or column in your selection. Then hold down Ctrl while you click the column or row headings of other rows or columns that you want to add to the selection. Further, you can also use mouse and drag it to select the desired cells. Moving a cell selection. To move a cell selection with cut and paste, select the cells containing data you want to move. Click the Cut button in the clipboard group on the Home tab. That is the button with the scissors icon. Alternatively, press Ctrl X. The program surrounds the cell selection with a mark you and displays the following message on the status bar. Select Destination and press Enter or choose Paste. Move the cell cursor or click the cell in the upper left corner of the destination range. When you indicate the destination range, you don't have to select a range of blank cells that matches the shape and size of the cell selection you are moving. Excel only needs to know the location of the cell in the upper left corner of the destination range. Press Enter or Ctrl V to complete the move operation. Alternatively, you can click the Paste button in the clipboard group on the Home tab. The cell contents disappear from where they begin and reappear in their new location. Copying a cell selection. Copying a cell selection with the copy and paste commands follows a nearly identical procedure to the one you use with the cut and paste commands. After selecting the range to copy, you click the copy button on the Home tab or press Ctrl C. An advantage to copying a selection with the copy and paste commands with the clipboard is that you can paste the information multiple times. Just make sure that instead of pressing enter to complete the first copy operation, you click the paste button on the Home tab of the ribbon or press Ctrl V. After you select the first cell of the next range where you want the selection copied, choose the paste command again. When you make the last copy, press enter. If you forget and choose paste, you can remove the marquee around the original cell range by pressing the escape key. Right after you click the paste button on the Home tab or press Ctrl V to paste cell entries that you copy, that is not cut. Excel displays a paste options button with its own drop-down button at the end of the pasted range. Click the button to see options that you can select to modify the paste operation. For example, you can select formatting only to copy only the formatting, or select keep source column widths to also copy the column widths. Moving or copying entire cells. When you move or copy a cell, Excel moves or copies the entire cell, including formulas and their resulting values, cell formats, and comments. Select the cells that you want to move or copy. Format Painter. You can use the Format Painter to quickly apply formatting from text, shapes, and pictures to another text selection, shape, or picture. For example, you can quickly copy a picture border from one picture to another, or copy shape formatting from one shape to multiple shapes. Using Format Painter, select the shape, text, or worksheet cell that has the formatting that you want to copy. On the Home tab in the Clipboard group, click Format Painter. The pointer changes to a paintbrush. Double-click the Format Painter button if you want to copy the formatting to multiple selections. Select the shape, text, or worksheet cell that has the formatting that you want to format. To copy the formatting to a single cell, several cells, or a range of ranges of cell, drag the mouse pointer across the cells or ranges of cells that you want to format. To stop formatting, press Escape. You can quickly copy column widths. To copy the width of one column to a second column, select the heading of the first column. Click Format Painter and then click the heading of the column that you want to apply the column width to. You cannot copy the column width if a merged cell includes the column from which you want to copy the width. Font Group Commands. Now let's understand the functions of font group commands. You can change the font or font size for selected cells or ranges in a worksheet. You can also change the default font and font size that are used in new workbooks. Font group contains commands like changing font and font size, bold, italic, and underline, adding borders, changing font color, adding fill color for a cell or group of cells. Change the font or font size in a worksheet. Select the cell, range of cells, text or characters that you want to format. On the Home tab in the Font group, do the following. To change the font, click the font that you want in the font box. To change the font size, click the font size that you want in the font size box until the size you want is displayed in the font size box. Change the default font or font size for new workbooks. Change the default font or font size for new workbooks. Click the File tab. Under Excel, click Options. In the General category, under When creating new workbooks, do the following. In the Use this font box, click the font that you want to use. In the Font Size box, enter the font size that you want to use. Click any other tab to return to your file. Applying borders to the cell. By using predefined border styles, you can quickly add a border around cells or ranges of cells. If predefined cell borders do not meet your needs, you can create a custom border. Cell borders that you apply appear on printed pages. If you do not use cell borders but want worksheet grid line borders for all cells to be visible on printed pages, you can display the grid lines. Creating a custom cell border. You can create a cell style that includes a custom border and then apply that cell style when you want to display the custom border around selected cells. On the Home tab in the Styles group, click Cell Styles. Click New Cell Style. In the Style name box, type an appropriate name for the new cell style. Click Format. On the Border tab, underline. In the Style box, click the line style that you want to use for the border. In the Color box, select the color that you want to use. Under Border, click the border buttons to create the border that you want to use. Click OK. In the Style dialog box, under Style Includes, clear the checkboxes for any formatting that you do not want to include in the cell style. Click OK. Applying a custom cell style. Select the cells that you want to format with the custom cell border. On the Home tab in the Styles group, click Cell Styles. Under Custom, click the cell style that you want to apply. Applying or removing cell shading. You can add shading to cells by filling them with solid colors or specific patterns. If you have trouble printing the cell shading that you applied in color, verify that print options are set correctly. Filling cells with solid colors. Select the cells that you want to apply shading to or remove shading from. On the Home tab, in the Font group, do one of the following. To fill cells with a solid color, click the arrow next to Fill Color and then under Themes Color or Standard Colors, click the color that you want. To fill cells with a custom color, click the arrow next to Fill Color. Click More Colors and then in the Colors dialog box, select the color that you want. To apply the most recently selected color, click Fill Color. Microsoft Excel saves your 10 most recently selected custom colors. To quickly apply one of these colors, click the arrow next to Fill Color and then click the color that you want under Recent Colors. Tip: if you want to use a different background color for the whole worksheet, click the Select All button before you click the color that you want to use. This will hide the grid lines, but you can improve worksheet readability by displaying cell borders around all cells. Alignment group commands. Alignment group commands. Change text alignment in Excel. In Excel 2010, the text or contents of a cell can be aligned vertically and horizontally. By default, text of cell is left aligned and numbers is right aligned. All cells use bottom align also. But you can change alignment of a cell easily using alignment commands from Alignment Group on the Home tab. Also, you can use Alignment tab of the Format Cells dialog box for more options. Few alignment options are available under Home tab itself, but more options can be seen when you click on dialog box launcher for Alignment Group. To do this, select cells and click right button of mouse. Shortcut menu will appear. Step 2. Click Format Cells on shortcut menu. Format Cells dialog box will appear. Step 3. Choose Alignment command from Format Cells dialog box. Step 4. Under Alignment command, you may choose different options from drop-down list of horizontal and vertical in Text Alignment Group. Horizontal text alignment. Horizontal text alignment. Horizontal alignment has several options to distribute text across the width of cells. 3 horizontal alignment options are available on ribbon itself. Left aligns the cell contents to the left side of the cell. The text of cell is wider than the width of cell. Then text spills over to the left adjacent cells. If left adjacent cell is not empty, texts are truncated and not completely visible. Center aligns the cell contents to the center of the cell. The text of cell is wider than width of cell. Then text spills over to the left adjacent cells. If left adjacent cell is not empty, texts are truncated and not completely visible. Right aligns the cell contents to the right of the cell. The text of cell is wider than width of cell. Then text spills over to the left adjacent cells. If left adjacent cell is not empty, texts are truncated and not completely visible. Other horizontal alignment option can be accessed using the dialog box launcher. Available options are Fill. Fill option repeats the contents of the cell until the cell's width is filled. Justify. This justifies the contents of the cells to the left and right of the cells. If the text of cell is wider than cell width, it starts new line in the same cell. Center across selection. It centers the texts of cells and texts are spilled over to the left cell. It spills again equally to left and right adjacent cells. This option doesn't alter width of cells but changes height only. Distributed. Distributes contents or texts of cell evenly like center, but it doesn't alter cell width, changes height only. Vertical text alignment. Vertical text alignment. Vertical alignment has several options to distribute text across the height of cells. 3 vertical alignment options are available on ribbon itself. Top. Align cell contents to top across the height of the cell. Also available in ribbon. Center. Align cell contents to center across the height of the cell. Also available in ribbon. Bottom. Align cell contents to bottom across the height of the cell. Also available in ribbon. Other vertical alignment options can be accessed using the dialog box launcher. Available options are: Justify. Justifies the content vertically in the cell. If text spills over to adjacent left cells, this option brings them in same cell by using new line. This is also applicable if cells are wrapped. Distributes contents or texts of cell vertically, but it doesn't alter cell width, changes height only. Merging cells. Merge and center. Merging cells. Merge and center. You can't split an individual cell, but you can make it appear as if a cell has been split by merging the cells above it. For example, you want to split cell A2 into 3 cells that will appear side by side under cell A1. That is, you want to use cell A1 as a heading. It is not possible to split cell A2, but you can achieve a similar effect by merging cells A1, B1 and C1 into one single cell. You then enter your data in cells A2, B2 and C2. These 3 cells appear as if they are split under one large cell, that is A1, that acts as a heading. When you merge 2 or more adjacent horizontal or vertical cells, the cells become one larger cell that is displayed across multiple columns or rows. In the following example, using the merge and center command centers the text in the merged cell. Merge adjacent cells. Merge adjacent cells. Select 2 or more adjacent cells that you want to merge. On the Home tab, in the Alignment group, click Merge and Center. To change the text alignment in the merged cell, select the cell and then click any of the alignment buttons in the Alignment group on the Home tab. Formula references in other cells are adjusted automatically to use the cell reference of the merged cell. Because sorting requires that all cells to be sorted are using the same size. You cannot sort a range that contains a combination of merged and unmerged cells. Split a merged cell or unmerged cells. Split a merged cell or unmerged cells. To split a merged cell, you must select it first. Select the merged cell that you want to unmerge. When you select a merged cell, the Merge and Center button also appears selected in the Alignment group on the Home tab. To split the merged cell, click Merge and Center or click the arrow next to Merge and Center and then click Unmerged Cells. The contents of the merged cell will appear in the upper left cell of the range of split cells. Find merged cells. Find merged cells. On the Home tab, in the Editing group, click Find and select. Click Find. On the Find tab, click Options and then click Format. On the Alignment tab, under Text Control, select the Merge Cells checkbox and then click OK. Do one of the following. To find the next occurrence of a merged cell, click Find Next. Excel selects the next merged cell on the worksheet. To find all merged cells, click Find All. Excel displays a list of all merged cells in the bottom selection of the Find and Replace dialog box. Wrap text. Wrap text. Sometimes we may need to keep column width fixed and wrap cell text into multiple rows. To wrap text, in a worksheet, select the cells that you want to format. On the Home tab, in the Alignment group, click Wrap Text button image. Data in the cell wraps to fit the column width. When you change the column width data, wrapping adjusts automatically. If complete text is not visible completely after wrapping, it may be because of row height specifications. To correct this, select the cell or range for which you want to adjust the row height. On the Home tab, in the Cells group, click Format. The Cells group on the Home tab, under Cell Size. To Cells group on the Home tab, under Cell Size. To automatically adjust the row height, click Auto Fit Row Height. Number Group Commands. Number Group Commands. In some cases, numbers in a worksheet are actually formatted and stored in cells as text, which can cause problems with calculations or produce confusing sort orders. The issues sometimes occurs after you import or copy data from a database or other external data source. Numbers that are formatted as text are left aligned instead of right aligned in the cell and are often marked with an error indicator. Convert text formatted numbers by using Paste Special. In this technique, you multiply each selected cell by 1 in order to force the conversion from a text formatted number to a regular number, because you are multiplying the contents of the cell by 1. The result in the cell looks identical. However, Excel actually replaces the text-based contents of the cell with a numerical equivalent. Select a blank cell and verify that its number format is general. How to verify the number format? On the Home tab, in the Number group, click the arrow next to the Number Format box and then click General. In the cell, type 1 and then press Enter. Select the cell and then press Ctrl C to copy the value to the clipboard. Select the cells or ranges of cells that contain the numbers stored as text that you want to convert. On the Home tab in the Clipboard group, click the arrow below Paste and then click Paste Special. Under Operation, select Multiply and then click OK. To delete the content of the cell that you typed in Step 2 after all numbers have been converted successfully, select the cell and then press Delete. Apply a number format to text formatted numbers. Apply a number format to text formatted numbers. In some scenarios, you don't have to actually convert numbers stored as text back to numbers. Instead, you can just apply a number format to achieve the same result. For example, if you enter numbers in a workbook and then format those numbers as text, you won't see a green error indicator appear in the upper left corner of the cell. In this case, you can apply number formatting. Select the cells that contain the numbers that are stored as text. On the Home tab, in the Clipboard group, click the arrow below Paste and then click Paste Special. Under Operation, select Multiply and then click OK. To delete the content of the cell that you type after all numbers have been converted successfully, select that cell and then press Delete. Style Group Commands. Apply, create or remove a cell style. To apply several formats in one step and to make sure that cells have consistent formatting, you can use a cell style. A cell style is a defined set of formatting characteristics such as fonts and font sizes, number formats, cell borders, and cell shading. To prevent anyone from making changes to specific cells, you can also use a cell style that locks cells. Microsoft Office Excel has several built-in cell styles that you can apply or modify. You can also modify or duplicate a cell style to create your own custom cell style. Apply a cell style. Select the cells that you want to format. Apply a cell style. Select the cells that you want to format. Create a cell style by modifying an existing cell style. Create a cell style by modifying an existing cell style. On the Home tab, in the Styles group, click Cell Styles. Do one of the following. To modify an existing cell style, right-click that cell style and then click Modify. To create a duplicate of an existing cell style, right-click that cell style and then click Duplicate. In the Style name box, type an appropriate name for the new cell style. To modify the cell style, click Format. On the various tabs in the Format Cells dialog box, select the formatting that you want and then click OK. In the Style dialog box under Style Includes, select or clear the checkboxes for any formatting that you do or do not want to include in the cell style. Cells Group Commands. Insert or delete cells, rows and columns. You can insert blank cells above or to the left of the active cell on a worksheet. When you insert blank cells, Excel shifts other cells in the same column down or cells in the same row to the right to accommodate the new cells. Similarly, you can insert rows above a selected row and columns to the left of a selected column. You can also delete cells, rows and columns. Insert blank cells on a worksheet. Select the cell or the range of the cells where you want to insert the new blank cells. Select the same number of cells as you want to insert. For example, to insert 5 blank cells, select 5 cells. Insert rows on a worksheet. Do one of the following. To insert a single row, select either the whole row or a cell in the row above which you want to insert the new row. For example, to insert a new row above row 5, click a cell in row 5. To insert multiple rows, select the rows above which you want to insert rows. Select the same number of rows as you want to insert. For example, to insert 3 new rows, you select 3 rows. To insert non-adjacent rows, hold down Ctrl while you select non-adjacent rows. On the Home tab, in the Cells group, click the arrow next to Insert and then click Insert Sheet Rows. Insert blank cells on a worksheet. Select the cell or the range of the cells where you want to insert the new blank cells. Select the same number of cells as you want to insert. For example, to insert 5 blank cells, select 5 cells. Insert rows on a worksheet. Do one of the following. To insert a single row, select either the whole row or a cell in the row above which you want to insert the new row. For example, to insert a new row above row 5, click a cell in row 5. To insert multiple rows, select the rows above which you want to insert rows. Select the same number of rows as you want to insert. For example, to insert 3 new rows, you select 3 rows. To insert non-adjacent rows, hold down Ctrl while you select non-adjacent rows. On the Home tab, in the Cells group, click the arrow next to Insert and then click Insert Sheet Rows. Insert columns on a worksheet. Do one of the following. To insert a single column, select the column or a cell in the column immediately to the right of where you want to insert the new column. For example, to insert a new column to the left of column B, click a cell in column B. To insert multiple columns, select the columns immediately to the right of where you want to insert columns. Select the same number of columns as you want to insert. For example, to insert 3 new columns, you select 3 columns. To insert non-adjacent columns, hold down Ctrl while you select non-adjacent columns. On the Home tab in the Cells group, click the arrow next to Insert and then click Insert Sheet Columns. Delete cells, rows or columns. Select the cells, rows or columns that you want to delete. On the Home tab in the Cells group, click the arrow next to Delete and then do one of the following. To delete selected cells, click Delete Cells. To delete selected rows, click Delete Sheet Rows. To delete selected columns, click Delete Sheet Columns. If you are deleting a cell or a range of cells in the Delete dialog box, you need to select one of the options. That is, Shift Cells Left, Shift Cells Up, Entire Row or Entire Column. If you are deleting rows or columns, other rows or columns automatically shift up or to the left. Editing Group Commands. Editing Group Commands. When you fill in data based on adjacent cells by dragging the Fill handle in Microsoft Excel, the Autofill Options button is displayed just below and to the right of your filled selection. When you click the Autofill Options button, a list of options appears that allows you to choose to the fill of the cells with text or data and whether or not to be include the format of the initial selection or to copy only the format. The Autofill Options button is also displayed after you select the Autofill option in the Series dialog box. To show the Series dialog box, use one of the following procedures. Click the Home tab and then click Fill in the editing groups. The options that are available depend on the type of content in the cells, that is, text or numbers, and on the format of the data. You can use the Series command to find the Autofill option and other options. Sorting and filtering. Sorting basically organizes the data of your worksheet in a specific order. For example, list of students of a school may be sorted alphabetically or class-wise or roll number-wise or in date of birth order or any other order. Sorting in alphabetical order. Select a cell in the column you want to sort. Click the Sort and Filter command in the Editing group on the Home tab. Select Sort A to Z. Now, the information in the category column is organized in alphabetical order. To sort from smallest to largest, select a cell in the column you want to sort, that is, a column with numbers. Click the Sort and Filter command in the Editing group on the Home tab. Select from smallest to largest. Now, the information is organized from the smallest to largest amount. Note: one can sort in reverse numerical order by choosing from largest to smallest in the list. To sort by specific criteria, select a single cell anywhere in the range that you want to sort. On the Data tab, in the Sort and Filter group, choose Sort. Sort command in the Sort and Filter group on the Data tab in Excel. The Sort dialog box appears. In the Sort by list, select the first column on which you want to sort. In the sort on list, select either values, cell color, font color, or cell icon. In the order list, select the order that you want to apply to the sort operation. Alphabetically or numerically, ascending or descending, that is A to Z or Z to A for text, or lower to higher or higher to lower for numbers. Filtering. Similarly, filtering feature can be used to narrow down the results and display only limited data as per requirement. For example, if you want to display only those rows which contains data of students who have scored more than 70 marks in a subject, data can be filtered using marks column. To filter, select the data that you want to filter. On the Data tab, in the Sort and Filter group, click Filter. The Sort and Filter group on the Data tab. Click the Filter drop-down arrow in the column header to display a list in which you can make filter choices. To select by values in the list, clear the Select All checkbox. This removes the check marks from all the checkboxes. Then select only the values you want to see and click OK to see the results. Basic formulas and functions. Formulas are equations that perform calculations on values in your worksheet. The basic formulas in MS Excel are addition, done using the operator plus sign. Subtraction, done using the operator minus sign. Multiplication, done using the operator asterisk sign. Division, done using the operator forward slash sign. Multiple operations in a formula. Similarly, multiple operations can also be done in a single formula like is equals to 5 plus 89 asterisk 56 by 8. For multiple operations in a cell, Excel calculates formulas based on the following order of operations. Operations enclosed in parentheses. Exponential calculations, to the power of. Multiplication and division, whichever comes first. Addition and subtraction, whichever comes first. Functions. Using formulas for calculations can be a very tedious task as the number of calculations increase. In order to resolve this, Excel has a predefined library of functions which can do those calculations in a much faster and efficient way. A function is thus a predefined formula which performs calculations using specific values in a particular order. Some basic functions used frequently in Excel 2010 calculations are function sum. Result adds values of all the cells in argument. Function average. Result returns average of values of all the cells in argument. Function count. Result counts number of items in a cell range. Function COUNTIF. Result counts number of items if a criteria mentioned is fulfilled. Function MAX. Result returns maximum value out of all the cells selected in argument. Function minimum. Result returns minimum value out of all the cells selected in argument. Function concatenate. Result joins two or more text strings. Function lift. Result returns specified number of characters starting from left of a string. Function right. Result returns specified number of characters starting from right of a string. Function len. Result returns length of a text string. Function trim. Result: removes duplicate spaces and spaces at the start and end of a text string. Function: lower. Result: converts all the characters of a text string to lowercase. Function: upper. Result: converts all the characters of a text string to uppercase. Function: VLOOKUP. Result: looks up a value in the first column of a table and returns the corresponding value from another column, that is, maybe in different worksheet or workbook. Function: round. Result: rounds a number to given number of digits. Function: round down. Result: rounds a number towards 0 to give number of digits. Function: round up. Result: rounds a number away from 0 to given number of digits. There are many functions available in the Excel 2010 library under Formulas tab that you can explore as per your requirements. In case you are not sure which function is to be used or what is the syntax of that function, you can use Insert Function command available in Function Library command group under Formula tab. Here you can type a brief description of the function and it will suggest the appropriate functions which you can use after reading their descriptions. Let's do some calculations and learn to use average function now. This function returns the average arithmetic mean of the arguments. For example, if the range A1 is to A20 contains numbers, the formula is equals to average A1 is to A20 returns the average of those numbers. Average A2 is to A6 is average of the numbers in cells A2 through A6. Average A2 is to A6, 5 is average of the numbers in cells A2 through A6 and the number 5. Average A2 is to C2 is average of the numbers in the cells A2 through C2. There can be other functions related to a function, like for average we have other functions such as average year, average if, etc. Freezing and splitting panes. Freeze panes. Specific rows and columns can be frozen in a worksheet. Just frozen portion of the worksheet remains visible all the time and rest of the cells can be scrolled by using this feature. Text. When you freeze panes, Microsoft Excel keeps specific rows or columns visible when you scroll in the worksheet. For example, if the first row in your spreadsheet contains labels, you might freeze that row to make sure that the column labels remain visible as you scroll down in your spreadsheet. A solid line under row 1 indicates that the row is frozen to keep column labels in place when you scroll. Before you choose to freeze panes in a worksheet, it's important to consider the following. You can freeze rows at the top and columns on the left side of the worksheet only. You cannot freeze rows and columns in the middle of the worksheet. The freeze panes command is not available when you are in cell editing mode or when a worksheet is protected. To cancel cell editing mode, press Enter or Escape. For information about how to remove protection from a worksheet. Splitting panes. When you split panes, either 2 or 4 separate worksheet areas that you can scroll within, while rows or columns in the non-scrolled area remain visible. Freezing and splitting panes. Freeze panes. Specific rows and columns can be frozen in a worksheet. Just frozen portion of the worksheet remains visible all the time and rest of the cells can be scrolled by using this feature. Text. When you freeze panes, Microsoft Excel keeps specific rows or columns visible when you scroll in the worksheet. For example, if the first row in your spreadsheet contains labels, you might freeze that row to make sure that the column labels remain visible as you scroll down in your spreadsheet. A solid line under row 1 indicates that the row is frozen to keep column labels in place when you scroll. Before you choose to freeze panes in a worksheet, it's important to consider the following. You can freeze rows at the top and columns on the left side of the worksheet only. You cannot freeze rows and columns in the middle of the worksheet. The freeze panes command is not available when you are in cell editing mode or when a worksheet is protected. To cancel cell editing mode, press Enter or Escape. For information about how to remove protection from a worksheet. Splitting panes. When you split panes, Excel creates either 2 or 4 separate worksheet areas that you can scroll within, while rows or columns in the non-scrolled area remain visible. This worksheet has been split into 4 areas. Notice that each area contains a separate view of the same data. Think of the worksheet areas as multiple views of your worksheet. If you make a change in one worksheet area, those changes will automatically be reflected in the other worksheet areas. Splitting panes is useful when you want to see different parts of a large spreadsheet at the same time. To freeze panes, you can choose to freeze just the top row of your worksheet, just the left column of your worksheet, or multiple rows and columns simultaneously. For example, if you freeze row 1 and then decide to freeze column A, row 1 will no longer be frozen. If you want to freeze both rows and columns at the same time, you must choose to freeze them at the same time. On the worksheet, do one of the following. To lock rows, select the row below the row or rows that you want to keep visible when you scroll. To lock columns, select the column to the right of the column or columns that you want to keep visible when you scroll. To lock both rows and columns, click the cell below and to the right of the rows and columns that you want to keep visible when you scroll. On the worksheet, do one of the following. To lock rows, select the row below the row or rows that you want to keep visible when you scroll. To lock columns, select the column to the right of the column or columns that you want to keep visible when you scroll. To lock both rows and columns, click the cell below and to the right of the rows and columns that you want to keep visible when you scroll. To unfreeze panes. To unfreeze panes, on the View tab in the Window group, click the arrow below Freeze Panes. Click Unfreeze Panes. Split panes. To lock rows or columns in separate worksheet areas. Note: you cannot split panes and freeze panes at the same time. When you freeze panes within a split pane, all rows above and columns to the left of the selected cell will be frozen and the split bar will be removed. To split panes, point to the split box at the top of the vertical scroll bar or at the right end of the horizontal scroll bar. When the pointer changes to a split pointer resize pointer, that is double-headed arrow, drag the split box down or to the left of the position that you want. To remove the split, double-click any part of the split bar that divides the pane. Unsplit panes. To restore a window that has been split into two scrollable areas, double-click any part of the split bar that divides the panes. Text. To remove all split panes at once, in the Window group, click Split. Printing a workbook or worksheet. Printing a workbook or worksheet. You can do a lot of customization for improving the printouts visually. Some of these we will learn in this module, and finally we will learn how to print the worksheet after these customizations. Scaling a worksheet for printing. You can scale a worksheet for printing by shrinking or enlarging its size to better fit the printouts. You can also scale a worksheet to fit the paper width of printed pages, or specify the number of pages that you want to use for the printed worksheet. To shrink or enlarge a worksheet, click anywhere in the worksheet that you want to print. Click the Page Layout tab. In the Page Setup group, click the dialog box Launcher button image next to Page Setup. The Page Setup dialog box appears. On the Page tab, under Scaling, click Adjust to, and then enter the percentage of the normal size that you want to use in the Adjust to box. To fit a worksheet to the paper width of printed pages, click anywhere in the worksheet that you want to print. On the Page Layout tab, in the Page Setup group, click the dialog box Launcher button image next to Page Setup. The Page Setup dialog box appears. On the Page tab, under Scaling, click Fit to. In the first Fit to box, enter 1 to fit the worksheet to the width of 1 page. In the second Fit to box, delete the value so that the number of pages tall is unspecified. To print a worksheet on a specific number of pages, click anywhere in the worksheet that you want to print. On the Page Layout tab, in the Page Setup group, click the dialog box Launcher button image next to Page Setup. The Page Setup dialog box appears. Under Scaling, click Fit to. To print a worksheet on a specific number of pages, in both Fit to boxes, enter the number of pages that is wide and tall on which you want to print the work. Print titles in Excel. If a worksheet spans more than 1 page, you may also print row and column headings or labels, also called print titles, on every page to ensure that the data is properly labeled. Select the worksheet that you want to print. On the Page Layout tab, in the Page Setup group, click Print Titles. Note, the Print Titles command will appear dimmed if you are in cell editing mode, if a chart is selected on the same worksheet, or if you don't have a printer installed. On the Sheet tab, under Print Titles, do one or both of the following. In the Rows to Repeat a top box, type the reference of the rows that contain the column labels. In the Columns to Repeat at left box, type the reference of the columns that contain the row labels. For example, if you want to print column labels at the top of every printed page, you can type $1 is to $1 in the Rows to Repeat at the top box. Printing. Select the worksheet or worksheets that you want to preview. Choose File. Print. You can also press Ctrl P. Note: the preview window will display in black and white, regardless of whether your worksheet or sheets, whether your worksheets includes color, unless you are configured to print on a color printer. To preview the next and previous pages at the bottom of the print preview window, choose Next Page and Previous Page. To set the printing options, do the following. To change the printer, use the drop-down box under Printer and select the printer that you want. To make page setup changes, including changing page orientation, paper size, and page margins, select the options that you want under Settings. To scale the entire worksheet to fit on a single printed page, Under Settings, click the option that you want in the Scale Options drop-down box. To print the workbook, do one of the following. To print a portion of a worksheet, select the worksheet and then select the range of data that you want to print. To print the entire worksheet, select the worksheet to activate it. Click Print.